Turnabout is fair play. So crossing over to the Democratic side to vote in their primaries to thwart their efforts to elect their best candidate, it's not fair.
People crossing over in the elections. We saw that in the presidential primaries last year. If you will remember, there were an awful lot of Republicans that were very guilty of shaping part of the reason, if you'll think all the way back to this time last year, part of the reason that Barack Obama gained ground quickly early was that there were so many people in the Republican Party that were so anti-Hillary Clinton that instead of voting in the Republican primaries, they were crossing over, voting in the Democratic primaries, and voting for Barack Obama. And so we helped to elect him as Republicans. And
I'm actually opposed to party registration at the state level. There are, a lot of people who are able to vote in a Republican primary or Democrat primary just because they feel compelled or that they feel like that is a person that they need to be voting for in that primary.
That I know that in a deliberate consideration, there could be circumstances where a tax rate increase in one place might be a necessity, but only under circumstances where they have to be cut somewhere else. So that essentially, true to the pledge, what happens is that we are revenue neutral.
We pay our fair share of state taxes as well. And there are plenty of places that we can cut. There is fat in every part of the budget. Government likes to grow. So let's turn that around. Let's cut across the board. And let's give incentives to our department heads to make those cuts work in such a way that services are not cut and quality is not diminished.
There is so much waste in our government. What I would want to cut is the waste and the duplication.
The solution is to lower taxes so that our small businesses can thrive, so that our individuals who are business owners can create new jobs.
You give it to the government, they can always find something to tax. Something that they can do that they can put a tax on. I agree about the fair tax. I think that our tax system is just out of control. If the money's not there, you cut the budget. Same way with taxes. If money's not there, then you do things in a more efficient manner, in a leaner manner.
The next thing that comes to mind is education. And there again, I'm not sure we need to spend more. We spend plenty already.
This is an issue that if we don't have good roads, we don't have good rail, then that is going to affect companies wanting to come and locate in the Roanoke Valley. Options include public-private partnerships, looking at funding from offshore drilling, looking at toll roads. But the critical point in any money that we get for transportation is that money is in a trust fund so that those funds are not diverted to other government projects.
The problem that we have is exactly what some have mentioned about Northern Virginia. As Northern Virginia gets most of the pie, then Southwest Virginia, we got to scramble around trying to get together to get these dollars. And it's not easy. Mass transit, I know just recently that William came back from Lynchburg and he was instrumental in helping with putting on 2 new trains that would travel to Washington from Lynchburg.
And that is partnering small businesses with some of the local educational institutions, Virginia Western for one. Because I think if we consider what's most important is creating an environment for our young people in this valley that is both desirable to stay and to raise a family. And one of the most important things there is they've got to have job opportunities. And if we are partnering some of our industry with our educational facilities in a way where there's incentives built in for businesses to participate and contribute money to our educational institutions so that they have input in the curriculum and they can have people trained to be ready to deal with the world of work.
What happens when things come from the feds, it usually comes down as a 2-year or possibly 3-year funding stream, and then it becomes an unfunded mandate because you have to continue it on.
Why was the money diverted to begin with? Where did it go? What do we need to do to get it back? What places do we have to cut? This question implies that if we don't have enough money, we can go take it from you. There's two principles in that question that we said to here today that I stand for: limited government and no taxes. That's exactly what we're talking about here.
Money that was designated and going after that money and keeping it where it should be, to use it where in the proper places. You know, that's the thing that happens when government gets involved and they don't let it happen and let it stay like it is and let those monies be designated somewhere. They start playing around with it. They get it in a fund. They start using it in other places. You know, there are tolls, user fees that people that use these, instead of your broad-based tax that would actually cover everybody and hit everybody.
How many of you see truckers on alternate 220 and Challenger Avenue, Orange Avenue, because they want to get around the way station? Don't you think the same thing happens with tolls? When I go to Richmond, I don't take the spur going into downtown Richmond. I stay on 64 and 95 and I get off of Broad Street and 5th Street because I don't want to pay a toll. A gasoline tax is going to hurt those who can least afford to pay. And we shouldn't be increasing the gas tax in that way.
But we have more employees at VDOT today than we did when we began the outsourcing. And that really makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up, because it didn't work, because we're not holding them accountable to keep the spending down.
If we reapportion our tax liability so that the overall tax burden on people is less, then all of these great things, the arts, the entertainment, the things that make our society better and that are good things, they can compete in the marketplace. And I trust you, the people, to not then have the money wrung out of your hands, but to give to those things that you support and that you want to.
Are agencies like the Roanoke Rescue Mission that doesn't take any government funds because they don't want to have the strings attached. They do, however, have the opportunity currently to participate in a program that I would love to see expanded, which is a tax credit, state tax credit. If you contribute to certain agencies that are doing the work to help the impoverished community in a community, if they are participating in that program, then you can get a tax credit for 50% of the money that you donated.